This is a subject that could possibly span an hour or two as it relates to time. And that's the subject of fake martial arts masters, grandmasters. This subject is sensitive to me. Let me say this beginning. I'm trying to formulate a way to put this so that you know where I'm coming from. And I speak pretty explicitly when I talk about martial arts, but I'm passionate about what I've done for 2/3 of my life. Now, as it relates to martial arts, you must remember, as in everything in life, and I've said this and I continue to say this, for everything that you have that is genuine, everything that you have that is legitimate, there's always a counterfeit. Everything. Everything that you think is beneficial to you, someone has a counterfeit to it. That's medicine, that's food, that's money, that's clothing, jewelry, that's religion or spirituality. There's always a counterfeit. Someone is always trying to sell you something that looks like or appears to be the original article, but it's an imposter. Martial arts is no different. This is a video that you need to watch. Now, how do you tell fake martial arts masters? Let me say this. There are people that, because they have, in their estimation, the gift of gab, the ability to convince other people to follow them, they do indeed, over a period of time, get a following. They have people following them who are not wise to what their plans are, their schemes, their agendas. And this person who's getting them to follow them becomes emboldened because he or she is excited that someone would listen to their rhetoric. Someone is going to listen to the information that they're giving to them. They're buying into it, in other words. So, wow, I got this person to follow me, or these people to follow me. Maybe I can take it a little bit further. Let me call myself master. Or somebody called me master who didn't know any better. Oh, now, stick my chest out. I'm a master. So you start accepting that title as master. Somebody calls you grandmaster. You call yourself grandmaster. You call yourself shidoshi. You call yourself kiyoshi. You call yourself hashi. You call yourself guru or whatever. Now you got a following, but you've got to give somebody something of value. But if these people are new to martial arts, they don't know what you're doing. If they've never ever really had any experience, and you might be physically built a little bit, you might have a little bit of agility and or skill and convince some people for a while, and before you realize it, through word of mouth, you start gaining more and more students, and then you stick your chest out and say, oh, I'm somebody now, and you're taking money now. You're hosting martial arts tournaments, and you open up a center and you start teaching and so forth, and they call you grandmaster, master, or whoever. And now you have this false sense of security as a master. So, if you are one of those fake martial arts instructors or masters, beware. Eventually, you're going to be found out. And I'll leave it at that. Now, if you are a consumer, if you are a potential customer, a potential individual that wants to find a reputable instructor, look out for this. Now, let me tell you something. Everything is not on a piece of paper. Everything that's on a piece of paper does not necessarily define the character and or the quality of the instructor. It doesn't. You can have all kinds of certificates on your wall that say you're Grand Poobah, but it doesn't necessarily define you as an instructor. What defines you is the quality and the value of you when you're standing in front of another human being and how that human being perceives you. So now, here are 5 things to look out for as it relates to fake martial artists. the martial artist can be, or the master, fake martial arts master, can be a male or a female. One of the things that you look out for is what condition they're in. They're fat, overweight, get out of breath when they take a few blocks as far as the walk is concerned, walking up the steps. Their belly sits in their lap when they're sitting down. Watch out. Just generally speaking. Another thing, do they smoke cigarettes? Not a good example. Do they get high and drunk, hang out in the bars? That's not a good instructor. I don't care if you've won 50,000 championships. It doesn't mean anything. If you are smoking cigarettes in front of your student and you're supposed to be promoting what? Good health and conditioning of the human body. That's not a good instructor. So look past that. Like I said again, if that person has won a championship or two in their lifetime and they have pictures plastered all over the wall in the school and so forth, and they can prove to you that they've won this and that, it doesn't matter. What you are today is what matters. Put the cigarette pack down. That's not a good example of a martial arts instructor. Now, what I've found over the time of observing people throughout the years is that sometimes people are okay with their instructor smoking because they smoke. So that means that they have something in common. But still, if you really want to learn martial arts, you don't want that type of instructor. Number 3, they don't give quality time to the students. They come up late to class, or they skip in class, or you can't contact them when it's time for class. And when you need to really learn, or you want to learn on a regular basis, the instructor's barely there, or they push you off to some sub-instructor or someone who's less qualified to teach you. That's the third thing to look out for. Okay? They try to date female students. This is primarily for men, even though female instructors can do the same thing, but this is more common with men. Every time a skirt comes in, some short pants, some booty shorts, or a woman that's nicely built, cute, pretty, into the dojo, dojang, what have you, got the guys gawking at them, and they're trying to get in the panties of every woman that walks into the school. No, that's a red flag. Watch out if you are a woman for that type of instructor. It's not a real instructor. I don't care, again, what their qualifications may have been in time past. I don't care how many trophies they have. It doesn't matter. And if you are a man or a woman and you have a child, a female child, teenager especially, or a younger daughter that you want to enroll in a school, watch out for that man who supposes that he is a master or a grandmaster or a hanshi or a shihan or whatever in the martial arts. You don't want your daughters, your grandchildren, or granddaughters around that individual. And I think this is last but not least. The science. I'm pausing for a moment. I want you to know this. When I was coming up, a couple of my instructors never learned how things work. Say it again. A couple of instructors of mine, out of the several instructors that I've had over the years, they never learned how things work. Anyone, listen to me, anyone can stand and copy something from another individual. But you don't really know what you're doing until you know the science behind it. What makes it work? I'm going to use Bruce Lee's example and or analogy. When he started martial arts, when he first saw a punch and a kick, a punch was a kick, a punch was just a punch and a kick was just a kick. After he had vested himself and he realized that a punch was no longer a punch and the kick was no longer a kick. So what happened? He found out that there was science behind it. There was physics behind it that made it explosive and made it powerful. In order to have good technique, you had to understand how the technique actually was to be applied. And it's more than just simply a matter of copying what you see somebody do. That's true with forms. That's true with self-defense. So you have to know the science, ladies and gentlemen. So, potential martial arts students and potential martial arts practitioners who are considering to join a reputable instructor and or school, think on these things. And remember this too. Your instructor should be able to tell you something about the human body. They should be able to tell you something about nutrition, something about the physiology, the bone structure, muscles on some level, some pressure points and vital points. They should be able to explain this to you in a very comprehensive way. And if they can't do that, you need to question that individual. You don't have to be a scientist per se with a certificate on the wall. You don't have to be a doctor with a certificate on the wall to be a martial arts instructor, but you fundamentally need to understand the science of the fighting arts. Fundamentally. And you need to take care of your students. And if you don't know these things, or if you are vague in these things, then learn them. Add to your repertoire of just kicks, punches, throws, arm locks, and sweeps, and what have you. That's simply it. So I hope that this beneficial video reaches as many people as possible. I hope it was of value to you, and I'm sure that it was, because not many instructors teach like I'm teaching you. They'll tell you this is a reverse punch, this is a front kick. Let's get in the ring, let's box, let's kickbox, let's grapple. And that's about all. And that's it. And that's all. This is Brother Teacher. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to respond to them. Much love. Yahweh loves you. I love you. So long.